This is Black Woman CEO. Welcome to the only podcast dedicated to giving you the raw and real experiences of successful Black women entrepreneurs. Yes, girl, we're talking about the behind the scenes strategies of what it takes to increase in your profit, power, and purpose. I am your host, Quanisha Green, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Hey there. This is Quanisha Green, the founder of Black Woman CEO, and about to go live with Maintain Your Momentum. It is an online summit that is being put on by LaShanda Henry of Sister Sense. I wanted to share this presentation with you and encourage you to actually enroll in the full event. She's doing this over the week. Awesome speakers. So definitely invest in your success and click the link and learn more.
Righty, ladies. So, again, we are here so that we can focus on things that you can do to maintain your momentum. And I didn't just want to sit here and talk at you for a week. I wanted to bring together some of the brightest, the most ambitious, the most creative innovators, the most driven women when it comes to committing themselves to making sure that you know what you need to do to move forward with strategy and intention. And I could think of no better person to begin the next phase of this conversation than my girl, Quanisha Green. She is the creator and founder of the Black Woman CEO movement. She is truly committed to seeing sister girls like myself and you succeed and survive, not just survive, but thrive. Yes. So I am going to essentially hand over the session so that she can introduce herself and kick off her conversation.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, LaShanda, for inviting me. And I want to congratulate everyone that's here during the pandemic. I know that we are all balancing different things, family, whether it's young ones, our elders, your parents, even just yourself, right? We're managing our anxiety and, hopefully doing social distancing and staying safe so that we can maintain our health. So when LaShanda invited me to talk about maintain your momentum, I instantly thought, how can we stay calm as well as confident as CEOs? And I am the confidence strategist for Black women entrepreneurs, and I help particularly service-based entrepreneurs and experienced experts to elevate their confidence and emancipate their earning power. Right? So when LaShanda invited me on and thinking about how do we maintain our momentum, really in good and bad times, I thought about the type of person that we have to be to do that. Right? And really it requires an expert, right? Someone who's a professional that can stay collected. Right? So, and the root of that is calm and confidence, right? Calm and allowing you to kind of be rational, right, in your mindset and think strategically and be able to evaluate and make decisions. And then confidence in the larger world that all will be well, right? And that is what is meant to be will meant to be. But then confidence in your ability to make it through, right? And to have what you need. Because I want to share the two primary roles of a CEO. And the number one role is to drive the vision. And then the next role is to drive revenue. So once again, how are you going to actually be able to execute in these roles if you're not calm and confident, right, about what you do? So today I'm going to share like three main things and thinking about maintaining your calm and confidence as a CEO. And number one is the number one high impact method to position yourself as a thought leader in good and bad times, right? The second thing is 4 proven steps to overcome doubt and procrastination and manage fear so you maintain your momentum at all times. And then 3 surefire ways to find clients now who are ready to work with you. And we know now maybe, in the next 30 to 90 days, right? So just to give folks some space because we all are managing different things. So let me know if you're ready. Type into the chat if you're ready because we're going to dive in. Put ready. So I know that you're with me and you can hear me. So the number one high impact activity, or you can say tactic, it's really a strategy that you can use, right, to position yourself as a thought leader in good and bad times is content marketing. Content marketing, right? And so I'm going to explain why it works to position yourself as a thought leader and then, kind of dominate in the marketplace during this time. So content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action, right? And that's a quote from the Content Marketing Institute. And here's the power of content marketing. So 80% of business decision makers said they prefer to get company information in a series of articles. Why? Because it builds trust, helping to solve a problem versus like direct pitching, and creates this crucial like, know, and trust factor. So if you think about why people buy, it's because they like, know, and trust you. Once again, it's confidence, right? They have a confidence in you. And our task as you can say the CEO or the experienced expert is to get them results, right? And so how do we prove that? How do we give them a taste test of that? And it's to show them how to get their problem, right? Their problem solved and some of the solutions that they want. Because people are motivated by two things, right? Either we're trying to move away from pain, right? Or we're trying to get to pleasure, right? So either we're trying to move from our current situation and what's not making us happy, or getting to this place where we are achieving our vision, right? So to create this like, know, and trust factor as an expert, as a service-based provider, as a CEO, and even for those of you who do products, you got to show off, right? You got to show off, which means you need to create and distribute your genius, right? And then that means you have to be a thought leader, right? Let me know what you all think in the chat. When you hear this thought leader word, does it make you afraid? Or you like, yeah, girl, I'm already there. I share my mind all the time, right? So put thought leader if you're comfortable with that. If you're not, just be like, I'm working on it, not sure, right? Just tell me how you're feeling about it. But once again, a thought leader creates and distributes their brilliance and their genius, right? And one of the methods, I'm giving you a quick formula that I share with all my clients about, look, you can just say these 3 things that will help you to produce content. Because let me know if you struggle to produce content. Just put create in the chat if you're like, I don't know what to talk about, right? So to be a thought leader, and a quick formula to do this is to, 1, be clear on who you're talking to, right? And thinking about what problems are they having or what is their vision. And then you want to educate them about these 3 things: the mistakes that people make around that topic. So for me, I help entrepreneurs to grow their businesses and earning power. So I would think about what are some of the mistakes people are making around this. The second thing are the myths, right? What are these maybe false beliefs or old wives' tales that people are having around this, right? So one of the things I share is that you need to be glamour and have pink glitter on your website to make money, and that is not true, right? That's not true. I didn't have a logo until I was 2 years in business. I didn't do I had a professional headshot for $99. I didn't do a formal photo shoot until last fall, which was my going into my 5th year in business, right? So that's a myth that I share. And then the third thing I want you to think about in creating content, the fast and easy way, right, is the solution. What is the solution to this problem that your ideal client, I like to call them soulmate client, because I particularly believe people are out there praying for you and what you particularly have to offer, is to show them the solution, right? Or share what the solution is. Now, here's the thing about the solution is what you think it is, right? Don't go pitching somebody else's solution and you don't even have a process for that. Is what your unique genius is around that, right? What do you think that people have to do, or the approaches they need to take, or the framework? So what's missing, right? What gaps they need to fill? That is your solution. So for example, I believe that for Black women to excel, yes, there's macro issues like bias, but we also have internal biases that we need to tend to first, right? So everything we do at Black Women CEO is influenced by research, culturally relevant, right? We're looking at the historical, cultural, lived experiences that informs Black women identity. And of course, we're not a monolith. So when I talk about Black women, I'm talking about us as a group. And then how do we start to heal and tend to that so that we can actually get in action, right? And I'm going to share those 4 steps to do that to help maintain your momentum, right? So that's my solution. That's my framework. That's my unique geek genius, right? That's my worldview around why Black women owned businesses are only making $24,000 a year, right? Which is the lowest by both race and gender, right? So once again, that framework is that you can just rinse and repeat, right? You're going to share the mistakes around your particular topic, the myths around your particular topic, and the solution around your particular topic. Now, why is that something that you can rinse and repeat? So you may say, oh, there's 3 main mistakes. Then your next piece of content, you can go deeply into mistake number 1, right? Mistake number 2. So as you can see, you can keep elaborating on content, do the myths, mistakes, solutions, even around another aspect of the issue that you solve. So I won't, keep stressing this point, but I just gave you an easy formula for content marketing. And although that statistic I just said that 80% of decision makers want to, read articles, show up powerfully in who you are, right? So I've done a lot of quizzes, and I actually realized that I show up great on video, right? And in person. And I've seen that, right? It converts like crazy. Like people become my clients, or having connected, kind of personal conversations. So I'm not into writing a lot, right? Or I would take my audio and I get it transcribed. So that's why I do videos. That's why we have a podcast, because I know people experiencing me helps them to become clients, right? And there's a lot of different surveys and things like that. And if you want to come into the Black Woman CEO Facebook group, facebook.com/Black Woman CEO, I'm happy to share today some of those different quizzes that you can take to really understand what is your sweet marketing persona. Now, with content marketing, here's how you actually get it to work for your business, right? Because some of you may be like, well, Quenisha, I blog and I post all the time and I ain't getting no clients, right? So how does this work? So to do this confidently and calmly, right? So once again, calm is being rational and strategic. Confidence is knowing that, look, I know who I am. I know what I do. I know my things get results. And I'm confident in my ability to drive that vision, to drive that revenue, both in good and bad times, is that you have to strategically set up your content. So our main business goal with content marketing is conversion, right? Now, let me preface this. I'm going to say some business terms in the next 5 minutes. And sometimes as women, right, when we hear business terms, we kind of associate it with the masculine and lacking connection or emotion or taking advantage of people. But I want you to come from a soulful place with this, where we know that our intention, once again, like LaShanda was saying, is to serve, to be of value, and really to give people what they need in an ethical and authentic way. So, but the language is best to use so that people kind of understand it, right? So it's neutral language. When I say conversion, don't, make all these assumptions. Excuse me. So our business goal is conversion, right? So you want to magnetize your soulmate clients, right? And that's where it begins. That's what your content. But ultimately, you want to own the lead, right? And that's how we build our business, right? When we own the lead. And these are people who are prospective clients saying hey, I want to learn more. I want to learn more about how to work with you, right? And then we promote our expertise and position ourselves as an authority, right? And then the content goal is to have a clear call to action, right? And here's the thing. There's different call to actions, but particularly the two that are the revenue generating activities or call to action. Because remember, your job is to drive revenue, right? It's list building, where you are inviting people, say, into your community. And I see an email list, right, as a community. Or lead generation, kind of inviting those hey, if you're ready to explore, taking this to the next step or becoming a client, right? Or getting your problem solved. And so those are the people who are ready to buy, right? So list building, when you're inviting them to your list, often there's an exchange of value, like a free offer or a webinar, right? That's coming up, or lead generation, right? They're kind of going to that consulting call. And those are the two best asks. So for list building, you can ask for the email exchange, right? Download or register for the webinar. And then for the lead generation, the most effective, you can say, method or tactic for lead generation are one-to-one consultations. You may have heard them called strategy sessions, discovery calls, clarity calls. Those are essentially enrollment calls, right? You are looking to explore if and how this expert can help you in solving your problem, right? And when you, of course, are the provider, the person that you are inviting, you're asking them to explore if and how you can support them. And here's why this is powerful. The consultation is that it's equivalent to months of email, blog posts, and social media posts, right? So when we think about leveraging, right, and getting powerful results pretty quickly when we implement them, just go for the one-to-one consultation, because that's equivalent to like 12 emails, right? Blog posts. So here's how you compose the question, right? Like at the end of your content, once again, whether video or written, you can ask, do you see how simple this is once you have XYZ? I'll be happy to support you in figuring out how this applies to you, right? You'll leave the call with and say some of the benefits, right? A clear understanding on why you're being stuck. Recommended next steps for how you can solve your problem and feel secure. Recommendations on how to communicate well with your spouse, and then what to do to have a harmonious relationship, right? So let them know the benefits of the call, because we have to sell the call, right? And then when you're on the enrollment call, you're not trying to sell them like a used car salesman. You're trying to help someone get to a clear decision on yes or no, are they going to move forward with working with you? Right, so that's the goal of the call. But before then, our content needs to kind of sell either why they should get on our email list, like why that free guide or free offer would benefit them, right? Because once again, people tap into the WIIFM, what's in it for me, right? And we're asking them for their valuable emails, right? So we need to exchange that value and explain to them why this is of value to them. And then once again, for the calls, you're letting them know the benefit of the actual call. So that was number one. What do you all think about that? That the number one high impact method to position yourself is content marketing. And that positions you as a thought leader, right? You're showing up, you're sharing your insights, you're giving them different perspectives, you're sharing why they should think differently about a particular issue. And guess what? This works in good or bad times, right? And then to make it a revenue generating activity, it has to have a strategic call to action, right? And the two most effective ones are list building, where you're trading, your value for the email, or the straight invitation, right, to that call, that one-to-one call. So let me know what you think about that. Now, I have a big question for you all, because that was a lot. So this is a little bit lecture, but not, right? When you think about promoting yourself, getting out there and sharing your thought leadership, or even raising your prices, right? Giving yourself a raise even during this time. What are some thoughts that come to mind? What are some thoughts that come to mind when you think about that? All right, people are saying, ready, thought leader over here. I know you are here, so let me hear it. What are some of your thoughts? So what are some creative ways to provide the services? And I want you all to do your first thought. So don't give me the pretty thought of like, oh, how do I load this onto LinkedIn, right? So when I've done this with clients, and we have touched 20,000 women in the Black women CEO community, and those are people who've actually given us their email address, right? Not just the platforms. Here's what some of the women have said. They said, am I going to be smart enough, good enough, expert enough, right, to share my information? I need more credentials, right? Is someone more expert than me? If I'm going to share this, will somebody steal it, right? So as you can see, there's all this stinking thinking that happens, and it gets in the way of us actually showing up as thought leaders. Right. And some of you may have done work already. So like, for example, someone just said increased value. That was my first thought, right, in promoting my work or becoming a thought leader. So, but often when I do this, those is actually the other way around, where people get really vulnerable, right? And they share some of the things that kind of are deep for them. Like they may have developed that thought because, like, for example, I had a client that who had a PhD, and she had a hard time writing like a 500-word article just to put on LinkedIn. And mind you, she wrote a book, right, that was peer-reviewed and everything, because now that she was doing it for her business, the thought came up that a professor told her in her program that she couldn't write. So that thought kept coming up for her. And we had to do this process, and I'm about to teach you, to debunk the thought so that she had to free herself to do the writing. right? So here's how we create our reality, right? So now we're going into the 4 proven steps to help you overcome doubt and procrastination and manage fear so you can maintain your momentum at all times. So this is that calm and confidence piece again. Here's how we create our reality, right? And this is based in cognitive behavioral perspectives. It's a psychological modality that has been proven to work for like 100 years, right? So the way we create our reality is kind of 4 steps, you can say, or a 4-way process. Number 1 is that we have thoughts and beliefs that then ultimately impact how we feel, right? And our emotions that show up. And then those feelings and emotions impact our actions, right? And behaviors, the things that we actually do. And ultimately our actions and behaviors influence the outcomes that we see in our life, which are ultimately the results, right? So thoughts impact our feelings, which, create our actions and behaviors, which then gets the results that we show up in our life, right? So if you're not liking your results, right? If you're feeling, say you find yourself procrastinating and not writing your thought leadership or not asking for the sale, then we have to backtrack and see what's going on, right? What are the thoughts and beliefs that are getting in the way? And sometimes we have to maybe start in the middle because you may feel like uncertainty and doubt or fear. And then we have to say, okay, what are the thoughts and beliefs that are driving that? Right? So ultimately, we always have to get to the thought and belief, but we may have to start at the action first to even say what's going on. And then let's, go up the ladder to figure out what the thought is. And I know this one from an academic place. I have a master's in social work. I have certificates in master in corporate life coaching, but I know this in a very personal way too. And LaShanda has been with me along this journey, so she can probably speak to this. Like, yeah, Quanisha was in some special places, right? So I was on a call. I'm a big proponent of investing in yourself, right? Like I'm all about give me the framework, tell me what I uniquely need to do to get to where I want to go. So I was investing in a number of coaching programs and even courses. And one day a mentor said, Quanisha, you have a unique story, and people want to hear it. And I instantly thought, nobody cares what I have to say, right? Nobody cares what I have to say. So you can see that stinking thinking came up for me. And this is why mindset matters, right? So as soon as I heard that thought, I was like, ooh, that's a self-worth issue, right? Now, because I believed her because I trusted her assessment. So I knew that that was something in me, a self-worth issue that I had to deal with. Now, by that time, I'm going to explain the catching your thought. I was really proficient at it thanks to therapy and my training. So that's why I can clearly hear my own thoughts and beliefs that get in the way. And I also get support. So once again, I'm going to tell you this 4-step process and so some of the things I did are in there. But I went on this path to solve my self-worth. And one of the things I had to do, just even in my own self-coaching, I had to debunk, right, that the whole thing that nobody cares what I had to say wasn't true. Because by this time, I was the co-executive director of a statewide social justice organization. I was traveling nationally, sharing the educational justice work that I was doing because we were getting results. I was seen on NPR, MSNBC, Melissa Harris Parrish Stories, Tell Me More, the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I've trained and consulted by that point at the Women's Law Project, the U.S. Department of State. I traveled, they paid for me to go to Europe to mentor community organizers. I had trained for my alma mater, right? The University of Pennsylvania as a guest lecturer, the American Federation of Teachers, right? So I had to give myself this evidence that is not true, right? And even my whole life, people would say, you need to write a book about your life, right? And I was even building my own community by writing for Harriet. I even showed up in LaShanda's Sister Sense Back to Business, and I've been a speaker for 4 years in that different space. So I knew that it wasn't true, right? I had to really debunk that belief. And here's a process that you can do that. So here's a process that I did, and so I'm kind of sharing, I'm going to break it down into the steps to really help me to end that overwhelm, overcome that procrastination, and really shift my thinking so that ultimately I could stay in action, right? Maintain my momentum in my business. And this is the process I do, and this is a process I teach every single person who comes through our programs at Black Women CEO. And so you're getting it, you're getting it for free right now. So the first step is that you have to catch the limiting belief. So put catch in the chat. You have to catch the limiting belief. That's step 1. Step 2 is that you need to contest the thought, right? You got to contest the thought. So that means like I had to show the evidence for why that thought is not true, right? It is not empowering. It is not accurate. It is not your reality, right? And then we don't just stop there. So some may think, oh, I can test it, I'm good from now, right? No, you got to go to step number 3, which is to create a new belief, right? Because we have to now replace that worldview, those thoughts, and that belief system, right? So step number 2 was contest, right? And I actually want some of you all to do that. What is a thought that you kind of figure out is keeping you stuck, and how can you contest it? So just do that really quickly in the chat. So step 2 is contest. And if somebody can write that for everyone's benefit. Step 3 is to create. So put create. Step 3 is create a new belief. And here's step 4, coach. Coach. So either you need to coach yourself, right? And some of you are really great at self-coaching. A self-coach that I love, a lot of books, Valerie Burton. She has great processes on self-coaching. Or you need to get coached, right? You need to get coached, because here's the thing. When we are in this stuff, in the overwhelm, in the frustration, in the procrastination, right? Or we know that we're stalling, right? We know that we're not showing up. Even though I know if you're on this phone, you're a go-getter, right? Even though we're a go-getter, all my clients are go-getters, and they're like, why? When they come to me, they're like, okay, I'm a senior director for the government, but I can't do my business. Like, I don't understand. So they got to get coached, because then we have blinders on, right? And everyone's not proficient at catching the thought. So sometimes you need someone to help you walk through the process, right? And helping you to pull out those beliefs, right? And thoughts. And sometimes, like I said, we figure out what the feeling is, or we figure out the actions are to backtrack that, right? And so you can get a coach. Some of you may need to get a therapist depending on how stuck you are, right? So self-coaching is great when we can do it ourselves and reframe our beliefs and have a mantra, right? To remind ourselves of the new beliefs. Or sometimes we have to get coached and get support. So that's why Black Woman CEO, we don't just do training, we do the coaching too, because we know we got to help you through that process. So I'd love for you to share in the chat, because we're a community here, right? Share one of your limiting beliefs, right? What is a thought that you may have caught while we were talking that came up for you when you think about, once again, promoting yourself, sharing your thought leadership, asking for the sale, or even increasing your pricing, right? So that you can increase your earning power. So someone said, assuming that people already know, right? So catch those limiting beliefs. And this, in the interest of time, I'm going to go to the next part where we're going to do create, right? So now I want you to create a more empowering belief, right? To replace that limiting belief, right? And I'm going to share 5 that kind of resonates with people and that I've seen that counted. I actually have 10, but we're going to just share 5 for today. And you can pick one of these, right? So if you're like, Quenisha, I don't know, but you can hold on to one of these and use it as your new belief. So the first one is that people want to hear what I have to say, right? So I'm not the only one that believe that nobody care what I have to say. A number of my clients said that when we first started. So a way to counter that, or a more empowering principle or belief that you can take on, is that people want to hear what I have to say, right? The second one that may resonate with you is that I have something valuable to offer, right? I have something valuable to offer. Because sometimes we think, oh, can I really help people? Who's going to buy from me? Do people really buy that, right? Am I good enough? So knowing that you actually have something valuable to offer, whether that's a service or a product or just your thinking, right? You can write a book and just share your thoughts. And then that the idea that you are enough, or I like to put I am in parentheses, good enough, right? That you are enough. And I love this quote by Maya Angelou, where she says that you are enough and you have nothing to prove to anybody, right? I love that. So the thought that you can take on is that I'm enough. And here's the thing, you are enough. You're a child of God, you're fine, right? Like you're a human being, you are enough just as you are. But once again, sometimes we have to remind ourselves that I am enough, or I am good enough. And number 4, power principle that may resonate with you is I am worthy of being paid for my services. Oh my God, that's a big one. And LaShanda, I'm pretty sure you have heard people say this, right? I am worthy of being paid for my services. So here's the thing. right? Can we just all agree that you are an expert, that you have invested in your education, even if somebody else paid for it? You know, I've had 6 figures worth of education, you know, looking at my student loans. Actually, more than that, you know, because the loans are the part that I had to pay from the scholarships, right? And that you have invested time in honing in on your expertise, right? Or experience, the number of hours that you've had at your job, and all these things like that. And that if you are serving, right, you deserve to be paid. Now, some of us have this orientation of, oh, I have to serve and I have to give. It's my ministry. A business is not a business unless you are doing that action for revenue. And if you aren't trying to get paid, what you have is an expensive hobby, right? And so if you want to be a CEO, once again, your job is to drive the vision and drive revenue. So you have to take on that you are worthy of being paid for your services, and even that it's your job to ask to get paid for your services. So can we all agree that we're going to just throw that mindset away? Right? And some of you may be at the point where you're like, I am worthy to get paid top dollar, right, for my services. So depending on where you are in that spectrum, right, you can maybe say, I just need to get paid, or I need to get paid top dollar, right, for my expertise and my services. And the last one that may resonate with you is, I am willing to promote myself. You gotta be willing. And then you can get to able, right? But you have to be willing to promote yourself. Because here's the thing, right? Your gifts are not about you. And when we think about Starbucks showing up every day, Target shows up every day. I get an email like every day from Macy's and Third Love and all these other things. They are showing up every day unapologetically, right? And these are products that you can say aren't essentials. Now you are doing work that can change the world, that is world changing, right? Even if you're working with kids, those kids are going to grow up and influence other people, right? If you're helping folks to say have a healthy relationship, that is changing that person for the rest of their life and the people that they're going to interact with. So I really would encourage you to just take on this idea that you're going to change the world. So if McDonald's is showing up every day, if Target is showing up every day, and you know you have something way more valuable, why not you? Right? Why not you? And once again, you got to take your ego out of the equation, right? And this is where that confidence comes in, that you know like the back of your hand, and that you get results. And ultimately, the I'm willing to promote myself is about not being stingy with your gifts and serving other people. Your gifts are for those other people who are praying for what you uniquely have to offer, right? So the I'm willing to promote myself is about you showing up, right? To be a value add, to be a solution in the world, right? So taking on that orientation. So what is an empowering belief, or which one of these, and I'll read them again, resonates with you? Please write it in the chat, right? So I call them power principles. That 1, people want to hear what I have to say. 2, I have something valuable to offer. 3, I am enough, or you can put I am good enough. 4, I am worthy of being paid for my services. And number 5 is I'm willing to promote myself. So I'd love to hear which one of those resonates with you, or even once again, what's a belief that you create, or a new power principle for yourself that counters the limiting belief that you had. Someone put nice and timely quote. So someone said, at times I've been doing this so long, I say I'm outdated, right? So what's and that was LaShanda, so I can call her out because this is her presentation. So LaShanda, if you would like to lead by example in your leadership, what is an empowering belief, or even one of the ones I said that may resonate with you, that you can create that word? She put LOL, like, why, Cornisha gotta call me out on the audio. So someone said, I'm worthy to be paid for my services. Glad to hear that resonated. You don't have to choose just one. Someone said all 5, right? So yes, you can use all 5 as your mantras. And LaShanda said, I have something valuable to offer. Amen, girlfriend. Yes. She's been in this game for like 17 years, and we know she did, right? But once again, look, LaShonda's been doing this work for 17 years, and she had a belief that I'm outdated. So this is something that we constantly have to tend to, because think about it, over 17 years, or since we was 5, like how old am I now? I'm 36. I created a belief when I was 5, because my mother was on drugs and different things, that I was unlovable, right? And so you could say, I started working on this like when I was 28. So what was that? 23 years, I went around thinking that I was unlovable until I started to learn how to counter that, right? And so I would go down that like, oh, my surrogate mom loves me and my husband loves me and my kids love me, right? And so, but I had to do that every day or every single time that thought came, because I had to start reprogramming that 23 years of telling myself that, right? And that was my reality. So even experienced entrepreneurs, right? Some of the people that you admire and you see as mentors, we all have some thoughts that we need to work on, right? And maybe we healed one part, but we got to hear the next. And ultimately, this is about claiming your power. So we have a motto at Black Women CEO that power is the ability to create your reality, right? And the 4-step process I just took you through is that process to create your reality, right? So to tend to those thoughts that impact your actions, that impact your feelings and your emotions, that impact your actions and your behaviors, and that ultimately impacts the results and outcomes that you see in your life. So let me know if that resonated with you. Put resonate if you like, yeah, Queen, I got this. I like this, right? And so just to go to this last part on how you can maintain your calm and confidence as a CEO is that, once again, let's dive into this driving revenue part, right? And being confident how to do that. So I actually have 7 surefire ways to find clients right now who are ready to work with you and really ready to buy with you. That's what the work means, right? Not just like, oh, I want you around. Like, no, they're really to invest in your services. But I want to share kind of the most powerful 3 ways. And these are things that you can do right now that can lead to clients within the next 30 days, or because so much is happening, right? It may, take a little longer, because here's the thing: what you do today impacts your results over the next 30 days. Over the next 30, 60, and 90 days. So that's why if you're not in action, right, as LaShanda said, the name of this presentation or the summit, if you don't maintain that momentum, you're going to see results, or you're not going to see results in 30, 60, and 90 days. And now you're going to be behind the curve. And when I say curve, it's not about you comparing yourself to someone else. This is your life, right? I don't want you to get to, what month are we in? March, April, May, June, right? June, and you're like, why don't I have any money? Or why do I not have any leads or opportunities? And it's because, 90 days ago, you weren't engaging in revenue generating activities. So here's how you can find clients now. And so the first surefire way I want to share with you is to network, right? To network. And you can start with your personal network and let them know what you're doing and then who you help. Right? Some of you are secret entrepreneurs. You are hiding out from your loved ones and your professional network. And once again, this is not like, and not to talk about the direct sales network marketing people. This is not a, go talk to your 30 friends and get them to buy. This is not that, right? But this is about letting people know what you do. Right? So one way you can do this is to send your network an open for business email and periodic updates, because that's what people care about you. They want to know what you're doing, right? And then so you let them know what you're doing and who you help. You can ask if they have referrals, like, hey, do you know anyone that needs those services? And then also offer them the link to register for your free offer or the link to schedule your free consult, right? So do you or do anyone you know need help with building your business and, making more money, right? So that's something I might say. Right? And so those in my network who are ready will raise their hand either to get that free offer or to schedule a consult. And that happens to me all the time, right? So I don't have that issue with my family and friends have not invested in my business, right? Because they value me, they value what I do, and then they value the professional relationship of they're going to pay or they're going to save up. Because people have done that, right? To pay to work with me. So this is also coming from a place of abundance, and that who is meant for you is meant for you, right? But you want to give them the opportunity to know what you're doing. And for those who do want what you have, to raise their hand, or particularly when you're list building, right, through the free offer, you're constantly giving those touches. You're cultivating the relationship, because Salesforce even says that people need 6 to 12 touches to buy from you, right? So some people will be ready to buy from you right away. And some you need to cultivate that relationship, and having a community helps you to do that. And so the networking part is really your warm market, right? Your warm market. And that's the easiest to transition into clients, and even past clients. That would be your hot market, right? So you can even let past clients know, like, hey, this month we're doing this. Are you interested? Let's have a call to see if you're fit, right? And here's why the warm and hot, I'm from the Bronx, so sometimes hot is hard for me to say. The hot market, they already like, know, and trust you. So that pivotal factor, right, to make a buying decision, they already have that in place. And versus a cold market, like some of you may be a cold market to me because you don't know me, right? So I would have to cultivate a relationship with you so that you feel comfortable, right? Like, know, and trust factor. But this presentation like this may warm you up, right? You're like, oh, I like what she's saying. I want to know more. All right, so the second surefire way is to collaborate, and that is to leverage other people's platforms that consist of the same target audience, right? The same target audience. And so the way you do this is that, you can offer to be a guest interview on like a podcast or a live video, or you can do a guest post through article writing, or even facilitate a guest presentation. Because here's the thing. You may know this or seen this so let's even use this example. LaShanda invited me, and then what do? I tell all my people, like, hey, I'm going to go be on my team, maintain your momentum, right? So people are on it and they want to share it. So now you're even tapping into their audience, right? And now they're coming into your space. And then because you facilitated it, you hosted it, you're like the Oprah, right? They start to see you as an expert too, because guess what? People don't do this. So the fact that you maybe have that gravitas to attract people, and that you put yourself out there, you're showing off, right? You're making this platform, really starts to stand out with people. So even though you're interviewing, say, an expert, you also are elevated too by doing that. So, and this works for traditional and online media, right? And here's the thing. Some publications have formal processes for pitching an article or an opinion piece. So you definitely want to follow those. And here's another way you can collaborate. You can also share your wins and pitch yourself to be profiled in local media for an industry-related publication as a success story, right? Because they're always looking for material, right? So that's how you can collaborate with them. But the key here, once again, when we go back to content marketing, all of this, the collaborations of former content marketing, you have to have a clear call to action. So you can invite the community members or the listeners, right, into your community by making sure you have a clear call to action to download a free offer or to visit like a lead capture page, a landing page. And you really want to collect emails in exchange for the value so that you can continue to nurture those relationships, as I just said. And that's how you turn, once again, that cold contact into a warm contact. And you make this call to action. There's a couple of ways to do it, depending on the rules of that publication or that platform. But here's the thing. You can really make that call to action in a short bio, right, as part of the how to connect with you, right? Or you can make a special offer to listeners and readers based on your topic, right? So that's how you can have those strategic call to actions. One of my clients did this. She wrote an article on LinkedIn, right? So she was leveraging that platform, you could say, to share her thought leadership. She made the call to action. Someone read the article, liked it. They reached out and he became a client. And this happened within a week. I have a client, I should have mentioned the network, that she sent out an email to her network. And within a week, because once again, someone in her network knew what she was doing, she would offer a $25K contract, right? Or to be a subcontractor of a larger contract where they were having with the school district, right? So once again, if you implement, you can see results in as little as 30 days and sometimes faster when you implement this. All right, and the last surefire way I want to share with you is to build, right? Build your own community and utilize content marketing, so video, written, or audio, to attract potential buyers, right? So just to kind of go over this again, you can utilize content marketing in those different ways. Make sure, once again, I know I'm echoing this, but repetition helps you learn, right? Make sure you have a clear call to action for your content so your visibility builds your email list. And then consistently nurture those relationships, at least through weekly content. I'm like LaShanda. LaShanda taught me to send the email like 3 to 4 times a week, right? Because you want to stay top of mind. But then nurturing could be you sharing tips, tools, resources, content from others, anything that helps them to understand or to treat their issue. right? Maybe you can go back to that myth, mistake, solution formula I shared with you. And of course, you want to make sure these things are relevant to your business offering. Don't go talk about something else that has nothing to do with what you do or doesn't kind of lead to the solution you provide. And at least monthly, and I do this more, make an offer to convert your subscribers into a lead or at least a customer or client. And so typically 1 to 3% of your subscribers will convert into buyers. And then make sure, once again, in your email and bio, your email bio or your signature has a call to action for those free consultations or to learn more about your services and products, and then have a link, y'all. Like, some people put reply back, but make it simple for people. Have the link, right? So I want to know which one of these surefire ways, right? So we had network, collaborate, and build. Which one will you implement this week? Right? And I want to share one about build. When I started my business, particularly around the Black women stuff, it was called Black Women Rise. And within a week, 1,000 women downloaded my free guide, which was 12 effective leadership resources for Black women, because Black Women Rise was more focused on helping women to grow in their leadership. And because I had my call to action set up, my landing page, 40 women applied to have a call with me. Now, I probably should look this up. I don't remember how many people I actually talked to. But of those conversations, I got my first high-paying client, which at the time, I know high ticket has changed, but I like to see high ticket as at least someone paid you $1,500. She paid me $1,800 for 6 sessions, right? 6 45-minute sessions, y'all. Right? One guide that I've created in Word and saved as a PDF with 12 resources, because people are always asking me, Cornisha, what are your leadership resources? 1,000 women downloaded it in 60 days. And I did use Facebook ads, but I also used my community organizing. So I leveraged my social media network. I sent it out via email. I did the open for business email, right? So I'm telling you what I walk my talk, right? So what I'm telling you is what I do. And then once again, the invitation, that high impact call to action of the one-to-one consultations. And I got my first client who paid me $1,800. And that paid for what I paid in Facebook ads and gave me a profit. And y'all, I rinse and repeat this process over and over and over again, right? Over and over. So what do you think? Do you think this is something that you can do, right? These 3 steps. Can you, use that high impact method of content marketing, using that formula even of mistake solutions? Do you think you can, tend to your mindset, right? So you maintain that confidence or even strengthen your confidence, elevate it, right? By having these more empowering beliefs that allows you to stay in action, to maintain your momentum in good and bad times, right? And then those 3 surefire ways so that once again, you are driving revenue as a CEO and they're surefire, right? You have the confidence that they work because guess what? They don't just work for me, they work for my clients. So once again, when you see other people or their stories of doing it, it gives you the confidence of like, hey, this is a proven process and I just need to work it. Right? And once again, these are strategic ways so you can stay calm about it and rational and just follow the steps, right? So even in trying times or crisis times like we're in, all I'm doing is my processes, the same processes that I did 2 weeks ago when there was like no virus, right? So maintaining that. And so you may have this question of how often should I sell? Every day, right? And once again, sometimes that's selling your message. Sometimes that's inviting people to come into your community or your Facebook group. And then strategically, you do want to have those call to actions that lead people to ultimately a one-to-one consultation or your sales page. So if you're more advanced in business, you may have a sales page. And ultimately, your sales page is the one-to-one conversation written down on a website, right? That's what sales page is. And so you should be selling in some form every day, engaging prospective clients, sharing your message, asking for the sale, and doing those call to actions, right? And some of those call to actions could be reply back, leave a comment, click here to view, watch, read, or learn more, right? Register, enroll, download. So those are some call to actions. So I hope that helps you, right? To really maintain your calm and confidence as a CEO. And another thing I want to do, I want to share this resource to help you sometimes take this to the next level, because I often hear people say, I don't have money to do this, I don't have financing. So I actually have a guide sharing 7 creative ways for Black women in business, right, to fund your business. And many of these are like no to low cost, and it actually helps you to get paid to even create offers, right? So if you go to blackwomanceo.com, and someone can put this in the chat, /funding, all you gotta do is put your email address in, fill out the form, and you can get those 7 creative ways to finance your business, right? So once again, blackwomanceo.com, and someone can drop that for me, /funding, and you can grab that free resource. Because once again, some of you feel like, oh, I need money to do all this. But even the surefire ways I shared, they're all free, y'all, right? Even the building your community part. I know I said I use Facebook ads, but this year I haven't used Facebook ads, and I've grown my list even in the last couple of months by like 300 people, right? And I got a client even 2 weeks ago who paid me $5,000 for my offer, and that was through a Facebook live stream series, right? Like, I didn't buy any ads. And I don't say this to brag, but to share the possibilities, right, of what's possible when you actually implement this and do this work. So once again, blackwomanceo.com /funding to get that resource on the creative financing, 7 creative financing strategies for Black women in business. And that is all I got for you today, folks. But I want you to remember this motto, that power is the ability to create your reality. And so go forth and be powerful, sister. And thank you so much, LaShanda, for inviting me to talk to everyone about how they can maintain their calm and confidence as a CEO.
Oh, I loved it. Oh my goodness. I was just sitting here writing and writing and writing. Position yourself as a thought leader in good or bad times. Quanisha has given you guys so much to think about in such an organized, really clear way, a great process that I think no matter who you are at any level, this is going to resonate with you and give you at least something that you can do to move forward. So make sure that, number one, you go over to blackwomanceo.com /funding to get the resource, 7 creative financing strategies for Black women in business. And of course, make sure that you are following Quanisha Green across her amazing platforms as part of the Black Woman CEO community.
Oh girl, the episode stopped, but the party is not over. I want you to go ahead and subscribe, like, and rate this show. Leave us a comment sharing your takeaways. And when you're done with that, come on over to blackwomanceo.com, join our movement. And when you do that, you'll get the special invitation to join us in our community. Well, I will love to put a face to that name, girl. So this is Quanisha signing off, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace and love.